Hello there. Once again, warm welcome to the Business Startup Show dedicated to projecting young business leaders who are doing well in their respective fields. Today I have a gentleman of many parts. We're going to find out how he is causing disruptive economies in his own way. Right, what's this break?
Are you looking for where to invest your money for the best return? Hebron is a forex fund management company which trades on the biggest markets in the world, the forex market. At Hebron, we make sound analysis of the markets and trade.
Our offer, My Share Account, a pooled fund which offers you 5% monthly return on your invested amount. Multi-account manager account. This is a managed account which gives you full control over your funds and offers you up to 10% monthly return on invested capital.
So get on board and discover the amazing returns the forex market has to offer. Hebron.
We promise, we deliver.
Welcome back from the break. As I mentioned, we're going to interview someone who is, I'd like to say, a man with many parts because in one way he's a consultant, a strategic consultant, an entrepreneur, he's an author, and also he is a motivational speaker. So we're going to have a very, complete discussion in that we're going to try to touch on all his parts. We want to find out what motivates him to do what he does and does well. He goes by the person Nelson Koko. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abel.
Glad to have you on the show. And I'm excited to have you because I don't usually have people on the show who are doing so many things and doing it well. I don't get that a lot. So I think for people out there who are multi-talented and don't know how to start and how to really go about their business, I think this interview will help them because I know by the end of the show you're going to reveal to them what makes you outstanding and how they can actually follow by the story that you share, your footsteps. Okay, all right. So I usually start with trying to have an idea of the person I'm interviewing. So who is Nelson Koko?
Nelson Koko is a young, dynamic African who is poised to make a difference in his own generation.
Wow, straight to the point. Poised to make a difference in your generation. What kind of difference?
Difference in the way we think, difference in the way we approach challenges and the way we provide solutions to them.
And what makes you believe that you are ready to cause that kind of change?
I believe that my personal experiences and then together with education, spiritually, has well positioned me to be able to help to make that difference.
We are definitely going to touch on the spiritual elements because I know it's very keen to you. Now let's start with one of your companies. Of course, you're an entrepreneur, right? And you do consulting for startups, and you're a lead consultant in the strategies. That's the company. Yeah. So what is the main idea behind that company? Why did you even set up in the first place?
I came out with strategy because I realized that every aspect of life, considering business, I live in Kaswa. In Kaswa there, they were having several problems, about staff, about, achieving results. So I sit down with them, I take management through training, and then I give them some roadmaps, and I see them work. They work a lot.
Why do you think your the strategies that you recommend to your clients, why do they work?
They work because I read a lot. I mean, you can talk about all the business gurus, their books, their materials, magazines, and stuff there. And then I also do a lot of thinking, because strategy has to do with thinking.
Yes.
You know, there are problems that we have not been able to solve because we haven't had time to sit down to think about exactly how to to solve it. You know, look at the Ghanaian economy now. There's a lot of talk all over the place. But it will surprise you that not many people have actually sat down to ask themselves, how can we face this problem?
A lot of talk about the problems facing us,
but not making time to reflect and think and say, how can we solve this problem? What's the best way to it? So I do that, and I see the result of the work. If you study, if you learn, I do a lot of research, there will be an answer to the problem, no matter how hard it is.
So when did you start up the company, and why did you even conceive the idea to start it in the first place?
Naturally, I'm a strategist. You know, I was born on Wednesday, Kweku. Anyway, I'm not Kweku Nancy. You know, so I love to think. I love to analyze.
No, you are telling me something new here. Kweku, you are strategist, right?
Yes.
Kweku Nancy.
Yeah, you know, so I like to do a lot of thinking. I make sure I don't talk too much. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of research. You know, just to be able to delve into the root of problems, difficulties, particularly the ones that confront organizations. In Ghana, you know, having worked in business and financial times, I've developed a keen interest in studying organizations, banking institutions, insurance companies, telcos. Why are some succeeding? Why are others failing? You know, so that has been my interest. So I consider the idea of strategy to help, you know, to get organizations to achieve the result that they want and to come out of the web of frustrations, because I believe that some of the organizational frustrations are unnecessary. You know, we talk about leadership, we talk about operations, and then stuff. There should be a clear cut.
So you just mentioned that you worked for Business and Financial Times.
Yes.
What's your background?
I did home science. Now they call it family and consumer sciences. Food and nutrition, clothing and textiles, human development and child studies.
Really?
Yes, and a whole lot. I graduated in 2008.
Wow.
And I joined University of Ghana. So University of Ghana. So I joined BFT in 2009. You know, where I was doing marketing for their business magazine, the Business Times. After doing marketing for some time, I was moved to event. You know, so until I left BFT, I was part of the event team that organized the Ghana Economic Forum, African Business Leaders Forum, and a host of others.
And I was after your experience, or was through the experience that you realized that you want to go on your own. What was the, how do we call it? What was the tipping point? What was the point that you said, okay, you know what, I've had enough of corporate experience, I want to start on my own?
I've always been doing something on my own, even before going to the university. So whilst at the university, I've actually wrote down a number of companies that I wanted to run when I come out of school.
Really?
Yes. From a very, you know, from before I got to university, I was doing training in my own way. Today I realized most of the things I was even teaching, I asked myself, how did I get to know those things? So right in the university, I always make sure I attend business seminars. When I hear of some of these corporate leaders from Ghana coming to campus to talk to students, I make time, I go there, I get some materials, I read, I attend seminars. So I was doing all those things. And I written the names of the organization, the companies down. So when I came out of school, I used to read BFT when I was on campus. So it was through that that I got to join.
Doing, home science at that time, and you were reading
yeah,
BFT.
You know, I will carry the paper to class, and sometimes my colleagues will wonder, but you're doing home science. Why do you waste your money? The interesting thing is that sometimes I use the last pesewa in my pocket for food to go and buy the paper to read. And you know how it happened? I was called to BFT. There was no formal interview. Up to now, they haven't even seen my CV. Anyway, I'm no more there, you know. Oh. So I was just called on Friday, spoke to the executive director. Monday, I started work. So I've been using the opportunity on campus to prepare myself, develop myself, make the necessary contacts.
Which is lacking. I mean, I see a lot of young chaps out there, and yes, they want to ride the big cars. Yes, they want to be successful. But when you talk to them, you realize that they are not really preparing themselves. They are just living life and hoping that one day there will be a breakthrough out there. What do you think is causing this sort of lack in the system?
I believe the main problem should be our understanding of principles. Principles will work for everybody, no matter who you are. There are principles of financial prosperity. There are principles that will make marriage work. There are principles that will make your business work. If you don't obey those principles, you will never succeed. One of the reasons why we're able to make a lot out of the entrepreneurial revolution as young people is because we haven't appreciated principles. One of the things to note about entrepreneurship is a lot of pressure and hard work. If you don't get this principle right, you dream and dream and dream, and for several years, you will not be able to.
So with entrepreneurship comes a lot of pressure and
Yes.
hard work, which you must appreciate
Yes.
before you even get into it.
Yes.
And how do you handle that? Well, hard work, fine. You don't have to be lazy, but pressure, how do you handle it? Stress.
Oh, we all meet pressure at different levels. There are some people who will not be able to deal with a certain level of pressure. But the secret is, if you're able to deal with pressure at the first level, you graduate to the second level, you get to the third level. And that is why you have a young person, CEO, running several businesses. Another young person is a CEO running one company and just struggling. So we need to prepare ourselves to be able to graduate from one level to the other. When you do that, you become an expert at a certain point.
So as a young entrepreneur, you should forecast some sort of pressure and stress along the way and find a way to deal with it.
You should anticipate it. It will come. It will come. It will come. I mean, let's take it that you used to get some shoes out of the market. You were delivering to about 300, and then you meet a school and they tell you we need 2,500 shoes for all the students in our school. That's a lot of pressure, even though it comes with a lot of money. So startups need to appreciate this. There are people who sleep at 2 a.m. There are people who sleep at 3 a.m. and that is their everyday work. When they come on TV and they are talking and they are praising the media all over the place, you think it's an easy thing and everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. But you've got to understand the principles, hard work, discipline, being able to handle pressure, and you'll get there.
Well, so aside, do you have any other principle that should work? I've gotten hard work, I've gotten pressure. You just mentioned discipline.
Oh, the last one is actually the title of my book, How to Keep Going When the Going Gets Tough. In that book, I address keenly the subject of perseverance.
We're going to come to the book. I mean, definitely, we're going to come to the book, and you're going to reveal to us how you can deal with all these pressures along the way. We'll do that right after the break. Innovation School of Management and IT. Innovation School of Management and IT specializes in executive short courses and capacity building programs. The school has a vision of churning out top-class professionals. Our tutors are young top professionals with high-level academic and practical experiences. Our courses: executive certificate and training programs in project management, entrepreneurial management, business innovation and communication management. IT courses: WASI Remedial. Locate us at Maya Hut near Mama's Kitchen. Innovation School of Management and IT. Innovate to succeed. You're welcome back from the break. If you just joined us, I've been interviewing Nelson Koko of Nelson Capital and of Strategy and Strategy. He's also an author and a motivational speaker. And in just about 5 minutes of talking to him, I've been already inspired by his in-depth level of understanding of startups in the country and the principles that he works with that he thinks will actually cut across all forms of entrepreneurship in the country. But before we left, I was asking you, Nelson, there's an aura of mysticism, and I'm saying that because, well, you said you were reading BFT, you went to the company, no interview, and there was an interview, but no CV, no nothing. Monday, you were accepted to start work, or to call to start work. So what accounts for that? Do you believe in the first place that you work in the supernatural?
Definitely. One of the things I always say is that there is no human being who doesn't have a certain power behind him. It could be a bad power, it could be a good sort of power. As a Christian, I term that divine favor. But aside that, you need to prepare. I got a vision. I want to work in a business fair, though I was reading food and nutrition. I started preparing myself, reading books, reading newspapers. So I had prepared myself for the opportunity. When it came, I landed on it.
So, as a Christian, by divine favor,
yes,
by hard
divine
work.
favor is there, but you need to prepare for the task ahead. When you prepare for the task ahead, you maximize the favor that God wanted to operate on your life. If you look at the case of David, David was in the bush. Up to a point when he was about to face Goliath, David said, when I was keeping my father's sheep and the animals came and wanted to attack them, I was able to defend them. There he was fighting. So that was his track record. He had the courage to fight Goliath. So you need to prepare. we need to prepare.
Great. You aside strategy and strategy, there's another company that you run, Nelson Capital.
Yes.
And I like the name actually when I heard of it. And I went to your website and it was great. You know, a top level website. Initially, I thought it was actually from not from Ghana here because, I mean, it was good. So how did Nelson Capital come about? Is it something linked with strategy and strategy, or was it a different entity on its own?
Interesting. Nelson Capital is a miracle. When I used to work at BFT, by then I just entered the institution. My salary was not that good. And because I told you earlier, I like thinking a lot. I've been asking myself, this mega salary, what can I do to it to multiply it? How do I get a ripple effect of the little money I'm getting? My mother is a queen mother in the Kaswa New Market. She has over 300 market women under her who sell smoked fish, Kobe, Momoni, and all those things. One day I was engaging in the conversation, and she was sharing with me the frustrations they have with accessing capital from the microfinance institutions and the banks over there. Then the thing hit me. I was earning 400 Ghana cedis. I said, I'm going to divide my salary into two. So my first loan that went out was 200 Ghana cedis, half of my salary. That was in May 2012. That's how the idea started. When after finishing speaking with her, I wanted to do a research. So I went out to interview about 100 microfinance companies and banks in Kaswa. At the end of the day, I realized, number one, there was an issue of you have to save with us for about 3 months before we give you a loan. There was another issue of you have to pay loan processing fee. There was an issue of collateral. I asked myself, how do I beat the system? I have to take some of these things out. Anyway, it comes with its own risk. So, and then the last aspect is the structure of the payment system for the loan. What they do is that if you take 1,000 cedis for 6 months, they calculate the interest, say 5%, and then add the accumulated interest for the 6 months, add it to the 1,000 cedis, divide it by 6 months, then you pay it monthly. So at the end of the 6 months, you might have finished paying the interest and the principal. So I decided I'm going to take only the interest. I will allow the women to pay only the interest. Collateral, because my mother is their leader, I'm going to use my mother as a collateral so that she's going to select those who have the capacity and the character to pay.
No, but let me get it. They're going to pay only the interest.
Yes.
But eventually they'll pay off the principal.
Yes.
After the 6 months.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is what I did. So I did my survey, got to know what others are doing, came out with an innovation, though risky. So I set off for that, 200 seats. The last time, I have one client whom I've given 15,000 as a loan.
And what are your usual terms? What are your terms?
I realized the microfinance institutions averagely were taking 5% a month on interest. So I look at the balance, and then I told myself I can take 10%.
10% a month?
Yes. So all I need to do is to get people who have the capacity to pay that 10%.
And your mother, who happens to be the queen mother of the market, is doing that for you by selecting
the people who have the capacity and the strength to be able to pay, so I can lessen the default rate.
But it's usually there's a short-term loan, I guess, right?
Yes.
Usually it's 10%.
Yes.
For a long
6
period.
months, a year. Those who have been operating with the year platform are those who have shown enough consistency in terms of being able to do regular payment without default.
This is great. I mean, by just simple research and communication with people who are close by, you find an opportunity out there, and out of it, you're making some good money.
Yeah.
So what is? I want to stay on Nelson Capital. Now, definitely, you have a couple of clients. If you are loaning 15,000 and thereabout, it means you have substantial money. Are you looking at going to become a bank one day?
That, actually, if you come to my room, I've written it so big and hang it over there, Nelson Capital Bank. And my target should not be my target. Yeah, my target should not. My target is actually within 5 years. Yes, this year I did a strategic plan. For it. The financial sector, there are various levels.
Yeah.
I'm actually operating at the last level of what they call money lending.
Okay.
So I do money lending.
Okay.
So the various products on the website, I don't run them because you can't do that. You need a license to be able to do that. So I run only one product, which allows me to raise money to be able to help give it out to the market women, as well. So in the next 5 years, I look forward to having a full-fledged banking institution and subsidiaries in asset management, brokerage services, and a whole lot.
And you don't have any background in finance?
No, I don't have any
and
background.
And it's all as a result of you reading and researching?
Yes.
Or you've also enrolled in some?
Of course. Over the period, I've taken courses in credit risk management, microfinance, and finance for non-financial managers. Soon, I'm going to enroll in another course, to enable me build capacity to improve what I'm doing.
And you link that with the strategy, right?
Yes, exactly.
I want to find out how you link the Nelson Capital with the strategy, which is sort of an advisory and consultancy service very soon, right after the break. Simbin's Furniture Clearance Sale has started. Buy any 2 rooms and get 1 executive swivel chair for free. Save from 35% to 50% on selected items. For living room top grain leather package, you get 1 to 3 seater, 1 to 2 seater, 1 armchair, 1 center table, 2 coffee tables, 2 table lamps, and 1 free area rack. Bedroom package comes with Sealy Posturepedic mattress, the best in the world. Available are Swarovski crystal chandeliers and beautiful, unique decorative items. For your beautiful furniture with quality, style, and uniqueness, see Simbins first. Contact us 0244-667-790 or 0302-764-175. Welcome back from the break. I've been interviewing Nelson Koko. Nelson Koko is the CEO of Strategy and Strategy, startup consulting firm. Also, he runs Nelson Capital, which is a money lending company, hopeful in the next 5 years to be a bank. And he's also an author and a motivational speaker. And before we went on the break, I was asking you how you link up the Strategy and Strategy consulting firm that you have with the lending business you have, which is Nelson Capital. Is it linked in any way, or they are two different?
Indirectly. On the front line, they are 2 separate businesses. Actually, Strategy and Strategy is into training, consulting. By consulting, I mean, recently I was engaged by Poise. We are Poise in Nigeria. They wanted to set up a subsidiary in Kenya. So I had to help them, market entry strategies, management, selecting people, and all that. So that's on the line of Strategy and Strategy. I train people. As I'm here right now, I have a whole list of proposals that I need to go through for people. I need to meet people, help them replan and re-strategy organizations and all that. So Strategy and Strategy is not so much, engaging, because over a period of time you may not really have people, coming in, to do those things. So that's how the two, run.
All right, I want to get into, you're an author, right? And you have a book out, which is How to Keep Going When the Going Gets Tough. But before we even go into that, I want to find out, how many workers do you work with at the moment? Workers. How many workers?
First of all, Strategy and Strategy have what I call partners, strategic partners. They are also young startups who are running their own businesses, in different fields. Like, as a strategy consultant, I need some idea in startup, in IT. So I have a partner who runs an IT, and then again someone in banking, and other sectors. So I have a network of young startups that where my strength cannot hold, I just contact them, and then they come in with their expertise. So it's a network, but I'm the lead consultant. And with Nelson Capital, I have another person who is a chief operating officer. The Nelson Capital runs a system that is, you give the money out to the people. At the end of the month, we have one person who goes out to meet them to take their interest. And then the 2 of us, the chief operating officer, Stanley, and then myself, will sit down to plan, re-strategize to see how we can carry the company forward. So we are 3. Maybe if I had my mother, that would be 4.
Definitely you should add your mother. She's a collateral in the business.
Yes.
So she's important. Yes, now let's come to the book. How to Keep Going When the Going Gets Tough. Obviously, from talking to you, I see that you're a very cool-headed person. You know what you're about. You're very focused. And, I mean, if you've written such a book, it should be based on experience, because then you know what you're about. So why did you even come out to write a book like this?
So I wrote the book to serve as a tool of motivation and encouragement from a very practical level, for people to know that if you have a dream, there will be challenges, there will be problems. But you don't let the challenges frustrate the dream. You should be able to go beyond the challenges and make sure you realize that dream. I've always wanted to write since 2004. The book came out in 2013. How many years, Stephen?
9.
Between 2004 and 2013, several challenges, including finance. But at the end of the day, I decided not to allow anything to stop the dream, because I knew that the book was going to be a blessing to people, and the testimonies have been amazing.
I want to find out what principles do you put out there that if somebody is going through some hurdles, right, and is frustrated, will read and say, okay, all right, because of this and that, I'm not going to give up my dream. And like you, maybe in 9 years' time, I can be able to come up with whatever plan that I have.
The key word is perseverance. The book is about perseverance. Mm-hmm. And over there's one of the chapters where I spoke about the principles of perseverance. One of the principles I talk about was the fact that nothing comes easy in life.
Nothing good comes easy.
Nothing good comes easy. You've got to pay a price. I talk about another principle that says that life will not give you what you think you deserve. Life will give you what you are ready to fight for. You've got to fight for your dreams. And there I make people understand that, joking is, I use this, sometimes as a joke, that most of the people that we adore as successful people, whether in politics, in finance, or Christian ministry, or whatever, are not necessarily the people that naturally we will expect them to be so. But they have been able to get to those levels because they have been able to fight for what they deserve. You could remember, I don't know whether 2012 or so, there was someone who won the Miss Ghana. And there was confusion all over the place. What happened? People were arguing. She's not nice. She doesn't have a nice face. She doesn't have a nice body. She's not beautiful. But she won. The most successful people are not the people with the nicest face, the beautiful face, the best family background. They are people who are willing to fight for what they deserve. Those are some of the principles I shared with them.
You said we should fight for, based on the examples that you've given here, but I'm getting two things. I mean, there are people who want to win at all costs and might not use what we say morally ethical principles to do that. Is that what you're advocating for in your book?
Oh, not at all. You see, things that we use unethical means to do, we may get the result, but then there is always an aftermath that is undesirable. So I'm not advocating for using unethical methods to do things. There is always a right way that can be used. You don't need to cheat, steal, offend other people before you succeed. There is enough room for everybody to succeed.
So how do you fight for those things? Because, what people think right now, it's like before you can succeed, you have to step on another person's toes before you can succeed. But you are saying that you can fight in a morally ethical way and get there. How?
Let's say you have a dream of initiating an enterprise as a young person. One of the key things you need is finance. That could be a big hurdle. But if you know how to package yourself professionally and you approach people, if you talk to 50 people, definitely you will get people who will give you the money to start a business. If you are working in a banking institution or any establishment and you know what it takes to climb the corporate ladder, you don't have to sleep with a boss, you don't have to blackmail others, you don't have to cheat, you don't have to steal, even as an accountant, before you become wealthy.
You mentioned of repercussions for those who do it the morally unethical way,
yes,
immoral way.
Yes.
You're talking about biblical repercussions, right?
Not necessarily biblical repercussions. The world in which we live, we run on principles. If you cheat others, most of the time you get cheated at the end. If you're working for someone and you do it anyhow, one day you get to start your own business, you'll get people who also will come and work for you anyhow. So they are natural principles, not necessarily that they are even biblical. God has set the systems in place. What you sow is what you reap.
Great. I'm very much inspired with this interview. It's very unfortunate that time runs fast when you are having a lot of fun. But you should go to our website if you want to get the full details of this interview. You go to our website, ab-review.com, or go to our YouTube page, which is IBIS TV. So you log on to youtube.com, search for IBIS TV, and you see all our previous episodes, including this one, and subscribe to it so you get updates on what exactly has happened. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us the honors. Nelson Koko of Nelson Capital. This has been another episode of the Business Startup Show. My name is Abel Ohenia Akwe, and as always, as we say, be inspired to do.